It's so nice to see everybody here. And Naveen, congratulations on, taking your new post. It is very special for us because you are part of us. All of you are part of us. But especially you. So but having said that, it's also a great pleasure to see Dr. Rima Huja, who's been an old friend, and it's very nice to see her back again on the screen, albeit, but hopefully very soon physically as well. Welcome, Dr. Rima Huja. And Smita, of course, we also go back a long way, SPA, and so nice of you also to join us, and great to see you back as well. I think Poonam is here as well, and I've missed one person. I think who's that? Anyway, so I think over time, what is happening is synergies are coming together, and it takes time for everything to settle down and the energies to flow and find their channels, proper channels for them to kind of really spring into action. The reason why I want to open this and again is because over the last 2 years we've been on and off talking about how important it is to get the students in the forefront of this heritage endeavor, that whatever we do. And as you know, Sushant is very proactive. All of you know why we don't miss a single opportunity to create noise about saving anything that is under threat from development, from building new highways, from land use, and we've been doing that very, very passionately over the last few years. And we want to continue doing that. Now, I think it is very important to, because we are the thread bearers of our past, and we need to kind of, pass it on to the next generation. And it is very important to have the students in the forefront because the technology is moving at a very fast pace. Not just technology, I think architecture itself is refashioning itself. So much so that the older systems of 3-bedroom house, this all that is up in the air, getting rewritten, getting redesigned. What is a family unit? What is a workspace? What does a bedroom do? Bedroom is no longer to sleep in. It becomes a work unit for everybody. So that also the reflection that this time has given for women to make their voices heard, in the sense that you have to have your own workspace at home. And so all those things have gathered momentum to the extent that in some ways I feel our students are ahead of the thought process than we are as teachers. So because they are living this the next phase of world order. We are going through a change and we are moving into a new world order. And for that, we'll have to kind of relook at what heritage means for us. How do we reshape it and actually do something really meaningful and maybe even radical if need be. So for that, for all of those reasons, we need, fresh energy, fresh blood, fresh everything, fresh ideas from the next generation. So we look towards ICOMOS to involve and to suggest and discuss how we can take that further. How do we, how does this kind of, wanting to work with students align with what they want to do, and whether at all we can have an ICOMOS student chapter. That was the thinking behind all this, that could we create a students chapter within the ICOMOS initiatives, which is just for the students. And so I will open the session and open to all of you to discuss and deliberate, and I will join you back. And of course, this meeting is recorded, so I will also have a chance to see it again. But I will join you back at 3:30. But meanwhile, Parul and our students are here. So all the best, and I will see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. On this brief note, I'd like to introduce President of ICOMOS, Mr. Naveen Piplani. He's a former Hamlin Felden Fellow and Director of Studies, Center for Conservation Studies, the University of York, UK. He runs an architecture conservation practice based out of New Delhi and has worked as a core member of a multidisciplinary team for the conservation of Taj Mahal. He was the first National Scientific Counselor of COMOS India 2014 to 2017 and is a vice president of ICOMOS International Training Community. He has served as an expert from India at the ICOMOS World Heritage Panel 2017-18. Currently, he is engaged as a consultant at Intact Heritage Academy for training, research, and capacity building in heritage sector. He has researched and published widely on conservation education and practices. He is involved with collaborative networks, professional organizations, and academic institutions engaging with heritage matters across the globe. On this note, may I request Mr. Naveen Piplani to have a few words about ICOMOS India.
Yes, thank you so much. I hope I'm visible, audible, clear, etc.
Yes.
I would like to start by offering my thanks to the Sushant School of Art and Architecture and Sushant University, largely under the guidance of Dr. Vibhuti Sachdev, and very enabling shoulders of both Parul, who is now a doctor. So I must congratulate Parul, I think one of the very few doctors in this domain, and Bhavna.
Thank you.
And Bhavna, and the students who have joined this interaction. We thought that we'll keep it rather informal and interactive, so that the energies flow in and the barriers of formality are not stopping us. In any way, I also wish to thank the executive committee members who have joined this meeting. I know, and I'm sure you will appreciate, we are all volunteers, and we've got our day jobs that fetch us bread and butter, which has got very difficult in these COVID times. So I'm hugely grateful that Dr. Rima Huja, Smita Makhija, and Poonam Trambadia have joined us. I also must convey regrets from the members who have not been able to join, for the reasons that I have conveyed, that they must be busy with other priorities, which we respect, since it's become really difficult to carve out time and space for so many activities. With that, let me straight away jump on to to explain what is ICOMOS and ICOMOS India, and the rest of it will take a lot of time, so I will not do that in great detail. But I'll just say that there is a global network of professionals, largely, which is called ICOMOS. Some people also call it ICOMOS. And I was at a meeting where a Mexican friend called it ICMOS. So there are various ways in which you can pronounce it. It basically means International Council on Monuments and Sites. It was set up in 1965 or 1965 or 66, around that time, after the Venice Charter, the ICOMOS Venice Charter was formulated in a post-World War scenario. And the main objective of this big body of networks to come together was to promote and disseminate the doctrine of ICOMOS Venice Charter. And then it went, and it grew, and it expanded, and it became very successful. And it was largely a Western European thinking. And then it expanded to other parts. There was movement, students, researchers, etc., etc. And now it's all over the world. So that is the broad ICOMOS, international network. Now it has several national committees, let's say chapters in several countries, who are signatories to the Venice Charter, and also who have kind of taken it upon themselves that they will set up a chapter or a committee and work on it. It's all voluntary. Even the larger ICOMOS is voluntary. Nobody gets paid for anything except consultancy work if they do here and there. So, the spirit of ICOMOS is largely experts coming together and sharing their knowledge with the rest of the world on matters relating to heritage and culture, etc., etc. But let me be frank in saying that, and there has been some criticism around that point, that it focused only on monuments and sites in its initial stages. So let's say in a country like India, it would focus on Taj Mahal, Qutub Minar, Khajuraho, Red Fort, etc., which are in the category of monuments and sites. And therefore the Venice Charter for the protection of all of that. Now, over a period of time, as the definition of heritage kind of evolved, it has also started opening up to include urban heritage, rural heritage, industrial heritage, then heritage that may not necessarily be iconic. It may be, the greatest example is the World Heritage City, or the first World Heritage City in India, Ahmedabad. Now, it's a living city. These Havelis are not iconic. They are Havelis in which people live and reside. So there has been a great change in the thinking of the Western world itself, that what is heritage, and thereby bringing about a change in the thinking of ICOMOS, the big ICOMOS. Cutting the long story short, there have been several attempts to have a national committee in India. And the older members of ICOMOS India know that some of those attempts have been successful, some have not, some have kind of failed. And it was in 2012 that a consolidated, renewed effort was made, which led to the setting up of the current ICOMOS India. If you go on website and if you type India ICOMOS, there is another organization like that. So it will open up. It is India ICOMOS, and this is ICOMOS India. I'm just clarifying all that to you. So 2012 up now, 2020, 8 years, things have evolved again within the body. People have come in, people have joined efforts, and there are institutional members, there are expert members, there are associate members, there are also student members, but that student member category is slightly, it takes PhD students as student members, so that may not fit. So, that is how this whole organization is now more active than before. The earlier, I would not say they were not active, but they were confined to, let's say, archaeologists or a certain group of experts. But the current form of ICOMOS India that you see has archaeologists, architects, conservation architects, art historians, etc. So it's quite multidisciplinary in that sense. So that is how the composition of the body is. Now, let's say the question surfacing in everybody's mind is, so what have I got to do with all this? What has ICOMOS India or ICOMOS has got to do with me? The faculty and conservation students are saying, look, we are studying, we'll get our master's degree. Does it get us a job? Does it help us in a way of getting higher grades, something extra to our degree, and better exposure, all those kind of things that are basically hovering around the question, what do I gain by becoming a member of ICOMOS or ICOMOS India? So I would like to break that myth that the question is not what do I gain. The question is that the original intent of the organization was, what do you give? And the first contribution of ICOMOS to the world was the Venice Charter. And people who are in this domain understand the value and worth of Venice Charter. It has its own problems. My own thesis at York was questioning about the Venice Charter, but there is something that an umbrella document. So it starts with the basic premise of experts coming together, sharing their knowledge, converting it into some kind of a doctrine or philosophy, which would guide. It's not a mandated, it's not a legal instrument. It is something to guide heritage conservation domain across the globe. Universally, you can adapt it according to your needs, but at least there is something on the table. Now, so that's the spirit. So, and students, I think, have and faculty in the academic domain. See, professionals are busy. Professionals in the field have to earn their bread and butter. They have to run their families. They have other commitments, etc., etc. But I think the role of ECOMOS and ECOMOS India is hugely valuable, and it receives a lot of energy and thinking from the intellectual academic domain, because that was the ECOMOS India or ECOMOS does not undertake projects. So we don't do any conservation projects. So you see, so that is where we are different from professionals. We are not professionals who are bidding, who are contracting, who are consulting, etc., etc. All that is the professional domain, and there are certain bodies that do that. So that's a very clear distinction that we don't do that. What we do is academic thinking, generating knowledge, archiving knowledge which is already in the field, exploring scientific areas that have not been explored or need further exploration, etc., etc. I would, in fact, by stretch of imagination, say it is archaeology of knowledge that we keep on doing on a daily basis. So we look for knowledge, we gather what is available, we contribute to existing knowledge, expertise, etc., etc., with experts, right? So another distinction is that we would not, let's say, there is a lot of knowledge base within ECOMOS India, because all the experts are got together in one place. There's also knowledge base outside ECOMOS India, because there are some all these other experts who are sitting outside. So we have an instrument called National Scientific Committee, committees plural, which basically is into the themes of exploration. I would not say they are in silos, but they are themes, and some of the themes can even cut across each other. There are zones for larger conglomeration of experts. There are NSCs for scientific themes, and then there are working groups, people who would want to get together and address a certain issue or a theme and get working. So, they don't really have to wait for an occasion. They are working. They are a working group. Zonal members would perhaps collaborate amongst each other. Now it's a digital scenario, so we are talking to each other in this format, but imagine yourself 5 years back, you would perhaps have a zonal meet, a zonal occasion, zonal events to get to talk to each other. And then the scientific committees and the working groups. And then there is this overall executive committee, which is basically a facilitator. I don't see the role of executive committee as coming very heavily upon, because it's basically a professional's domain. The question is, as a student or as a faculty of institutional member, what do I gain? It's okay. It sounds very nice. You are doing a great job. You are going to save and contribute to the heritage of the world and the society. But where do I fit in? If I was a student, I would say, but where do I fit in? This sounds quite glamorous and idealistic and all of that. And we have Ms. Poonam Tambadia, who will further explore this thread, and then Smita Makija, who will be talking about zonal. So I don't get into the details of the threads. I'm just throwing some threads around, which these other people will pick up. Now, as a student, now let's say I'm a student and I'm on your side and I'm listening to ECOMOS India members wanting and coming and talking to us. I would say, you see, what do I have? So ECOMOS India has explained to you what their framework is. Now, what do I have? I have thesis, I have dissertations, I have design studios, I have history of architecture, etc., lectures. I have structural engineering lectures. I have architectural history lectures. Most importantly, I have study trips where in at least second year and third year, we used to go to historic places. Now, these are the spheres that I have. And over the next 1 hour, perhaps we could see where do the spheres of ECOMOS India and the thinking of ECOMOS and the spheres of educational domain, they can, kind of interact, talk to each other and say, look, can you do something for me? Let's say as a jury member of the ECOMOS, of the thesis. And is there a possibility of even having an institutional member and ICOMOS Best Thesis Award? And the thesis which fall in the category of heritage may be then judged in collaboration with one of the ICOMOS members, and then you get acknowledgement as an institutional. The institution acknowledges your work as a as an outstanding contribution to the field of heritage, and you get an ICOMOS Best Thesis Jury Award. I'm just throwing some of these ideas. How about involving some of our experts as your dissertation guides? You can have an internal guide, but there could also be external people coming and seeing your work every now and then, involving them at studios for crits. And all this is voluntary. I don't know how, I don't think there is any mechanism to get paid. Poonam may help us there and Smita may help us there. But I think because we are all volunteers, and these are various ways of continuing the thread of 1965 of sharing knowledge. So I don't expect students getting together and writing a charter, or I don't expect students getting together and writing any path-breaking philosophy of conservation for professionals who are in the field, because they are perhaps better equipped for that. But can the professionals interface with the minds of some of these students who are wanting to get into heritage domain and show them, to me personally, the nicer side of heritage, the romanticized version of heritage, and also that is how we have grown up. We have not grown up saving something which is falling off, or saving something which is dilapidating, saving something which is under threat. We have grown up listening to Sir Bernard Fielden and Martin Singh Ji and O.P. Jain and Peter Berman, etc., who would show us the nicer side of culture and heritage. And can one contribute through design or through thinking or through whatever might means to enhance the value and enhance the experience and enhance the rest of it of heritage that is within which we. And I think Dr. Reema ji, who's surrounded in heritage in Jaipur, is no better person to, it is like almost like tempting you. As a professional, I would want to tempt you to come to this domain. I would not want to show you the other side when you say, but that also comes as a part and parcel, but I would want to romanticize, I would want to tempt, I would want to, for the lack of any better word, attract you. That look, there is modern architecture, there is interior architecture, there is planning, and there is several, but there is heritage also. And perhaps heritage is the vast majority of your built environment surrounding you. Would you like to explore and be a heritage professional? And I would want to start a dialogue from there. And with this question being thrown at, I see about 170 participants that we are addressing, even if 20, are convinced that this is really what I want to do in life. Look, I have kind of found a direction. I have not found my goal, but I have found a direction. This is really something people have not explored. This is really something I'll gain so much by becoming part of ICOMOS India. That gain has started coming in already. It is not commercial gain, but it is intellectual, academics, sentimental, it is emotional, it is characteristic. When I call myself conservation architect, I feel a lot of value added to my personality. If somebody calls archaeologist, I could also call myself chartered accountant, or I could also call myself a doctor, or something else. And I don't mean to undermine any of those, but it's personal. Why I got into this field, because I felt, look, history can be seen in another way, not necessarily Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb and all the other people who came in and went, but as built environment in which I breathe. You see, if I live in a Haveli and I wake up in a Haveli, it's very different from waking up in a Greater Kailash apartment, which distinguishes my experience as soon as I wake up. Now, if I am able to or ICOMOS India is able to stimulate internally that that intellectual thirst or hunger in you, that, well, this can only happen if I get connected to ICOMOS India, because what they are giving, nobody else is giving. If I can generate that kind of quest in you, then I think the role of ICOMOS India, at least in our part of the world, because we have so much to do in the education sector, we are, I say, a country like UK, which is so tiny, has got 15 postgraduate conservation courses. That was my argument for starting the postgraduate diploma at INTAC, that in the UK there are about a dozen postgraduate conservation courses. In India, you can count on your fingertips, perhaps 6 or 7. Why don't we have at least 100 postgraduate courses in India, because of our diversity? So that's another discussion. But the idea is to be able to start thinking like that. And if ICOMOS India can, in a way, help is not the right word. ICOMOS India can provide that enabling intellectual environment where you feel comfortable and say, the answer to this question I'll find from my ICOMOS India member. I think nobody else may be able to help there. So with those kind of some kind of pointers thrown at the audiences that we have, I would like to hand back the floor to the organizers to carry on with the further deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was really inspiring discussion for budding conservationists like us and many other students over here, definitely. Moving further, I would like to introduce Dr. Reema Ahuja, who is Vice President of ICOMOS. Brief introduction about her. She is an archaeologist, historian, writer, Dr. Reema Ahuja, done her PhD from Cambridge. Is a director for Maharaja Savai Man Singh II Museum, City Palace Jaipur, Director Jaigarh, member of Central Advisory Board of Archaeology, trustee of Jaipur Virasat Foundation, visiting professor in SPA Delhi and CHM Ahmedabad University, and former vice president ICOMOS India from 2011 to 2014. She was also former member of India's National Monuments Authority. Books written by her include Ahar Culture and Beyond, Prince Patriot, Parliamentarian, Environmental Degradation, Crusader for Self-Rule, Mandan's Devta Murti Prakarnam, History of Rajasthan, Constructing Rajputana Rajasthan, Conserving Fortified Heritage, Rajasthani Stories Retold, A Concise History of Fort of Maharashtra, and Maharana Pratap, The Invincible Warrior. So on this note, may I request Dr. Reema Ahuja to have a word with all of us.
So thank you all very much for having me here this afternoon. And one thing I do want to say right at the start, that even though this is a meeting, it's an online meeting and I can't see the students, but I can almost feel that energy. And that's what's energized me. I've had a bad few days in the past with the illness that is going around. But as I said, having Vibhuti speak in the beginning and then, welcome us all, and then Naveen speak. So I'm inspired enough to come back in. I may not have that much of a message other than to start off with where Naveen was. What gets us interested in any subject and then makes it almost a passion. And it doesn't have to be a subject you studied. It has to be something that you feel about. So if we feel about our heritage, whether you're a student at this point, or whether you're an office bearer in ICOMOS, or whether you're qualified and you do all kinds of projects on site as an architect or as an art historian or as a part of a team or even evaluating World Heritage Sites. The passion is what is going to drive you forward. Now, to link it with ICOMOS, and as Naveen says, in conversation with my colleagues, with us here also, there are times when I'll say ICOMOS, ICOMOS, all of it, because that is the way the international community is. So one of the values that comes with your institute, Sushant, being linked as a partner member, is that you are part of an international organization. It doesn't matter how they pronounce your name, your own given name, or my name. They are a part of this larger body that is always going to be there to draw upon for experiences, for knowledge, for networking about all kinds of living heritage, built heritage, ways forward, theoretical issues. So one of the things that we hope you will do over time, stay a member from being a part of, as a student, an institutional member, to becoming a full-time member. And one of the other things that we will be promising, whether it is, this executive committee or whether it's an executive committee 40 years down the line, there are always opportunities to be part of evaluating processes for World Heritage Sites and maybe even change the rules or the ways in which we are looking at what makes something. Maybe in 40 years' time, we will not have this word unique in our lexicon at all. So we will not be talking about an outstanding universal value to make some place special. We will be talking about all manners of sites, for example, which have to do with water and water heritage, and not necessarily grading them, which is personal. We may grade them. It's something that is up in the air, but really giving each of them a value of its own. Now, as a student, one of the things that does happen with ICOMOS is you can be mentored. So you can be a younger, experience-wise, in the profession. I don't necessarily mean only age, but you can be a member who is starting off, and you may wish to be part of. We have these scientific committees that the president of ICOMOS just mentioned. So we have them in different subgroups that are of interest to almost everybody. So much so that at present we have to choose between scientific committees. And I can tell you it's a tough call. Like, I'm one of those people who's grumbled to my colleagues saying, okay, when we restarted ICOMOS in India, we were able to join 3 and unofficially kind of, sit in on the others. Well, modern technology means you can sit in on all the webinars taking place, but you do need to make a choice and say whether you will be doing industrial heritage, or you will be doing cultural roots, or you will be doing a lot on the intangible and helping out there. So even as a student, a lot of value comes from your involvement in the scientific committees. A lot of value will come from your being part of the process of evaluating, whether it is at national or for World Heritage Sites or other UNESCO things. It's a learning process. It's a growing process. Just to turn semi-autobiographical for a minute, one of the reasons, so again, Naveen talked about Jaipur and Rajasthan, and I'm fortunate that, well, not today, I'm not sitting there, but usually when I join one of the meetings, I'm sitting in a 300-year-old building, and very casually, very deliberately, I think my colleagues have figured by now, but very casually, I'll say something like, and I'm the Kiledar of Jaigarh. Now, very fortunately, we don't have to fight people off our forts. We actually say, come visit our forts, be responsible visitors. But that is the kind of luck I have. That luck, somewhere along the line, yes, it is luck. But somewhere along the line, what did happen was, very young, I was fortunate. I had parents who wanted me to go to old places. If we visited any place, then a museum which people find boring, and I'll come to that if I have another few minutes. But the local museum, the local sites, places everybody went to, chatting with local people was something they did. Schools did the same. I remember going to see water purification. And I can tell you that at 8 years old, seeing machines that are purifying water is very, very fascinating. You can turn blasé afterwards and say, what is it in that? Going to a post office. So having that interest coming at, or that exposure in people who were interested, then to be in a place where, so this is when I was 10 and my father was posted somewhere where other than going to the local school, which I did, there wasn't that much to do except, here's the except, go visit the fort of Chittor almost every day, lived place of it, if one wanted to, and I want to. And on the days I wasn't request for somebody, I would be fortunate to join in some of the jeep touring my father was doing. So I was like one of the, the air tires around. But we went to fascinating places. That is what got me hooked. I was not necessarily thinking or analyzing it in the sense of what makes those places tick and what period that building belongs to. But I got that done the same. Because somewhere in the story about it, it would be, ye na 8,000 saal purana hai. And I would look at it and say, oh really, 8,000 years old. And they had a building like this. And then my father very politely would hear them out. My mother would. Sometimes they would ask a question and would make it very clear that we were actually in a 400-year-old building. But, to have the quasi-guides, well, they were guides, thinking in terms of time as if it had happened a few seconds ago. It really gives you a different perspective. So your students, you're discovering the real way of analyzing things. You're discovering aspects like art history. As when does a true dome become part of an architecture? Who is borrowing at which point in time? You're doing all of that, and that's fascinating enough. But with it, when you are able to, network in with organizations like ICOMOS India, it opens up a larger body of fellow travelers, co-explorers, of people who have achieved a lot in many, 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 many cases, of people who are still achieving. They've just started their journey. And if, so I'm going to kind of end there and say that there are all kinds of academic aspects that membership of a group like ours brings. There are all kinds of academic expertise that we as an organization can get from you people as students and your institution. There are all manners of field work that we can do together. When you walk with somebody who knows a building. When Naveen was talking, I recall that when Fielden made a visit to Rajasthan and then was talking, I didn't go with him, though in my mind I'd like to imagine that I was with them in Shekhawati. I could almost see it, but I wasn't. But he talked about it here. So Sir Bernard Fielden showing us around Amer, even if it is with other experts. So we had Nimish Patel, Parul Zaveri, who have done their own pioneering work. We had Mapu from Intac, who again had done their own kind of. This mixture of having these people take any younger person through any kind of built or tangible, intangible, all of that gives a different dimension. I think it's to end now by saying, I'm so happy you're doing this journey that you are, and all the link-ups that you can have with Sushant being part of ICOMOS is definitely going to be with you. And perhaps as you develop your own interest areas, you'll find that you do want to be a member, more than just a student member, when you do your earlier degrees, and stay with us and become a lifelong committed heritage professional, if that is the word I want, but definitely somebody who feels for what the past is and wants to do something about it. Now, my final thing, you know, when I talked about museums, so please do this. Next time you go to a museum and you do what I've done many times, so this is true confession time. I walked past the stone, I'm an archaeologist, I walked past the stone tools and all of that, looking for more, well, romantic, but more interesting buildings or things to look at or objects, until I had my moment of understanding, which is that that little bead you see on display, or that little stone tool which means nothing, you know, such and such site, such and such date period, but it was actually used by someone who could think like you and I. And that, the fact that that bead was worn by some, I mean, it could have been someone like me who did it 10,000 years ago. And after that, I've stopped just walking past something saying, Kya hai? Why do we have to see this? You know, then I look at things with fresh eyes. So keep the freshness in your eyes and in your minds. Keep them open, even when you're 188 years old, and even after we've all beaten COVID and we can meet each other face to face. Thank you once again for having me here. Bye.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was very different and interesting dimension of heritage you have mentioned, and very interesting facts about museum and your stories. Thank you once again. Going further, I would like to introduce Poonam Trambadia. She is a West Zone representative of ICOMOS India. Brief about her. She started her practice in Ahmedabad since 2006, working as consultant with organizations like ASI, Intact, World Monument Fund, Municipal Corporation of Ahmedabad, Rajkot, and other NGOs and private heritage owners. Recently, she worked as European Union supported CHMV lab in Ahmedabad, and currently also working as a working on research project for temple architecture of Western India. She is teaching architecture since 2008, initially as lecturer at Government Polytechnic, and now as associate of professor with Anand National University. I would like to welcome her and brief us about ICOMOS India and opportunities for heritage education. Poonam Trambadia.
Thank you, Shreya, and thank you for calling us all for an interaction. I'll take forward from what Naveen had said, that yes, ICOMOS is a voluntary organization, and largely we are here all as institutional members or as individual members to contribute to a cause. But what I would say is that what we gain is largely a platform. It gives us a platform as individuals, as academicians, as professionals, as authorities, to come and intellectually interact with each other on, you know, because we are not here talking about projects, but we are talking here about conservation or heritage or historicity as a whole. And conservation itself, as Rimaji well pointed out, of the historic view, that no, we are not looking at it as timelines. We are looking at it as science. We are looking at it as history. We are looking at it as chemistry. So there is this whole dialogue, and ICOMOS provides a platform where all of us as students or academicians can have this dialogue. In the past, ICOMOS, though, yes, Naveen very well pointed out that right now, the student category is PhD students, but the other students, as a part of institutional members, do also gain from ICOMOS India. We have tried involving students in many activities in ICOMOS, starting probably earlier also, but because I joined as a West Zone member from 2017 and became a West Zone representative. So in the GA, the triennial GA, which happens, the general body meeting, international general body meeting, we had involved a lot of student volunteers from various colleges which were member to ICOMOS, so that they could gain experience, not only volunteers, but there was a combination of papers also invited from professionals and students. And there was the intermingle, and in all the general body meetings, even nationally and internationally, there has been this practice of intermingling and mixing of student papers and researches and giving them together. So there is a balance of understanding throughout the thing. In 2018 AGM, which we had conducted in Ahmedabad, what we had done was, because that Ahmedabad at that point had just become the World Heritage City. And the idea at that time was that how do we involve youth in understanding heritage? And so at that point of time, during that symposium, the focus of the symposium was youth and heritage and changing ideologies in conservation. And so what we had done was we had invited student posters and how they are viewing as heritage. And for that time, we had, though largely, otherwise we opened it to ICOMOS members, but at that point of time, it was also part of awareness. And so we had opened it up to all the colleges in throughout India. The students could send posters. So we had responses from Chandigarh, Delhi, some from Kerala, Gujarat, of course, because the event was largely happening in the Gujarat. And those, again, that underwent a proper process, though not largely a very professionally peer-reviewed thing, but the posters were sent to different ICOMOS members who went through and suggested modifications, and then also the best poster. And these students were given a small time limit of, say, 7 minutes to present those posters also amongst the ICOMOS members. So that also, as Naveen very clearly said, that as ICOMOS members, we don't take reimbursement for or money for giving workshops or anything. So in 2019, we had organized these two workshops. One was in collaboration with Council of Architecture, Anant National University, and ICOMOS. And because there was this whole documentation of World Heritage City structures which was coming on, and institutional members were also being invited for that. So this was the workshop conducted for making the faculties. It was like a faculty development program along with the Council of Architecture, that how could they understand documenting history, because when a normal architect documents, they have a very different perspective, and when we are looking at it for conservation or historic views or heritage views, there are different perspectives. And so in collaboration with the council, and all the members were ICOMOS members. So they had, of course, they were being reimbursed for their stay and logistics, but otherwise it was voluntary. And it was a 5 to 6 day workshop, both on and off site. Apart from that, and parallelly, because I also was teaching there, and I was taking an adaptive reuse studio. So the students were, because adaptive reuse is largely because these were undergraduate students, and so they were looking at historic areas and design. And so these ICOMOS members, whoever had been a trainer, they're also engaged informally with the students of how to understand designing in historic areas. So that was, I mean, these are the direct engagements which happened with ICOMOS members. Again, there was another workshop which was organized with ICOMOS members for understanding historic areas and documentation in historic areas for the students in the same year. So that was one. Off and on, and I think in that way, Sushant also has been in the past active when we do these 18th April events and 18-19 November events, which was the, I think Sushant was very actively involved in that 100-day challenge, and we had picked up that with Shalini and the North Zone. I'm sure Smitaji will be doing a lot more activities, and she'll be elaborating on that, so I won't go into that. And then another thing which was done was this Hriday. So the Hriday publication, which had come out as a part of the CEPT paper series, and it was published. We are hoping that we can go for a formal publication. And in that also the students were involved, in sense that they took a lot of theses and they were exploring a lot of ideas of how these cities, they were master students. Initially what I was talking about were bachelor students. These were master students, and they were also with these guides from e-commerce, they were also looking at various areas of these historic cities from the ideology of what Hriday had established in their purview, and then presenting. And there is a monologue which has come out as Hriday publication. So that is another thing which is there. And now with everything, we are also going ahead, and we have been able to establish a publication subcommittee. So we are also looking with the national scientific committees and a combination or an individual or whatever, and with collaboration with institutes in terms of knowledge partners or printing or publishing, to go ahead and move further with the publications which can come forward. So, hoping to do that very much in the future also. So that is what I will say, that there is a lot of engagement which can happen at various platforms from the point of education, not only for conservation students, but also undergrad students. So that is where I will end my thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Poonam ma'am. Now I'd like to introduce Smita Datta Makhija. She is Masters in Conservation from IAS York. She has established Avesna Studio in 1988 to work on conservation and architecture projects driven by processes where solutions are based on an in-depth understanding of local identity continuity, of the shared heritage, substance of sensitive in ecosystem, and socio-economic regeneration factors. Projects and research undertaken in Delhi, Ladakh, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, Assam, and Mizoram. She is a visiting faculty in SPA Delhi for the Urban Conservation Studios and thesis semester. She has developed the core model on appropriate sustainable adaptive reuse, on heritage resources to include heritage revitalization, and taught it for more than 20 years. She is also engaged in public domain for appropriate heritage intervention actions in Shahjahanabad through public interest litigations. She has co-authored for Delhi Diversion on heritage and democracy. I would like to invite Smita Datta Makhija for possibilities to get involved with zonal activities. Thank you. Ma'am, you're on mute.
You're on mute, Smita.
Hi, everybody. I'm so glad we're able to meet today. And thank you so much, Vibhuti, Parul, Bhavna. We've all been, part of a process where we've tried to make heritage into a profession. Like when I graduated in 1986 and I came back with a degree in conservation architecture, like people were laughing at me and telling me, how are you going to even survive if this is the kind of work you want to do? But I think our profession has come a long way, and my voice is gone, so I won't speak for long, but there are some very important points I want to make clear to all the students who are actually going to shape the world. The first thing you need to understand is you have the same capacity as God. Like every day, whatever you do actually changes the way people will use this earth for the rest of posterity. So you are going to leave a mark on this earth. But what gives us so much energy and understanding on what kind of mark we want to leave on this earth? That comes from what our forefathers have done. I always like to look at life as a continuity. So we literally want to look at the past, present, as one thread and not try to say that I exist only in the present. 12% of the Western world, whether it's buildings or it's natural heritage sites, which is inhabited by man, is now considered heritage and is protected. In India, our mechanisms are very poor. So bodies like ICOMOS become very, very, very important because they become a platform for us to reinforce our ideas in the fact that we are only the custodians on earth. We don't own this earth. We have to pass it to our next generation. And everything we have inherited is a heritage resource. So what we have inherited is like our grandmother's necklace. And what you want to do with it is something you need to decide. Do you want to go to a pawn shop and just sell it for the value of gold? Or you want to restore it and keep it for your grandchild and they keep it for their great-grandchild? The necklace is not just the value embedded in it of the craftsmanship and the materials, but it is also the emotions and memories. And these are the things which make us human beings. They make us connected with our past. And in our present, what we manage to do is to share. So is one platform which I feel is a place where I can talk to my peers about ideas and develop concepts, and then I can go out on the ground and use these concepts to actually do pilot projects. There is actually no distinct line between old and new because there's a continuity, and we can only be good architects if we understand that continuity and we understand what our forefathers have achieved and what goals we set for ourselves. And ICOMOS helps us immensely in setting up our goals, because when we interact at all the international and national forums, we share our experiences and we are able to put together our thoughts as how we would like to transform our environment. So even if you're doing a contemporary design, it is rooted in the resources you have at your availability, which are the resources of the artisanal skills of the persons who excel in certain craftsmanship, whether it be contemporary or whether it be historic. So my request to all of you is to actually come up with ideas. And that's what I've requested Bhavna and Parul and Vibhuti to do, is to come up with ideas. Actually, any theme is a good theme. It's the way we develop that theme. And the relevance of the theme has to be seen in terms of sustainability and the benefit that theme can provide to a larger number of inhabitants of historic areas and contemporary areas. The one more point I'd like to bring to your notice is heritage is not of value just at the local level. It is of value at multiple levels. Most of the heritage we try to share with each other on the ICOMOS platforms is of value to the whole of mankind. So it is very interesting to know how our values are shared and how our visions are shared and how we can help each other to develop methodologies to work with each other and to work at the smallest level with the artisan who's creating a component of the building or an artifact or carrying a traditional skill from one generation to the other. India is an extremely rich country. If all of us also became conservation architects, we would still have work. 70% of the work with the large firms in the Western world is related to historic work. So it may be contextual design or it may be refurbishment of buildings. It does not come just by learning by yourself. It comes by sharing the learning with other people. So what we need to do is we need to open our minds to multidisciplinary ways of dealing with heritage. And we need to come up with ideas, which I would really request Bhavna to come forward with and suggest how we want to work with the students. I think the most important thing we can do with the students is to help them to see. And something I would give as a tip to all the students is just go to any site and do a virtual tour. Like all of you are always on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all these mediums which are digital mediums. Just put out 10 minutes of your time per day, just like the time you put out for brushing, and just say, I will visit a historic museum, a site, something like that. I do that even today after all these years. And the discoveries are amazing. The amazing discoveries is how people are able to adapt. Like Poonam was mentioning, adaptive reuse is an important factor. So how people are able to bring historic buildings to a habitable standard, which is same as the contemporary buildings, or even sometimes better, because the energy embodied in the historic buildings is actually a resource, and we are using that resource. So we are ensuring sustainability. And when we work at ICOMOS, we don't just work with the buildings, we work with the entire urban system, the people. So it is the relationship of humanity with the urban systems that help us to evolve as civilizations. And India being such an evolved civilization already, we have to make strides and lead the world into the next generation of evolution. And every student is bright and every student has a great idea. It is just how you take this idea forward and how you reach out to any of us. Like if you have an idea, please pick up the phone, call us and connect with us. And even if it's a small idea, we can help you to shape it and become meaningful, to publish, publish your thoughts, or to take it to the people who need them, basically the inhabitants of existing settlements. So I wish you all luck, and I wish for a great collaboration. At any point when any of you, if you make a small group, you want us to come and explain to you how the contemporary architecture works in tandem with historic architecture, we would love to do that through our experiences. And the other thing I would love you all to do is to just go to the ICOMOS site and Google, because between Naveen, Reema and Poonam, they have really covered everything what ICOMOS aims to do. But what we will make, what we will use the ICOMOS platform to do will be our own contribution and our vision. So thank you and wish you all the best. And I'm really looking forward to working both at the institutional level and individual level with anybody who's interested in any aspect of heritage.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This gives a perspective to look into each and every aspect as a heritage, and we should focus on tangible as well as intangible heritage. So very interesting to know all these things from you. Moving further, I'll go for interactive sessions. So anyone is having any questions, doubt, or anyone have to want to interact with any of the speaker, please feel free.
I think it would be great to hear from Vibhuti, if possible, and Bhavna.
Hi, sorry.
So I think a lot of opportunities have been discussed, lots of interesting ways of engagement. So Vibhuti, any thoughts on that?
Yes, I think this is got good energy and promise, and I think we should build on that. We should build on more collaborative work. But also, I think if we can, well, there are 2-3 things which I think ICOMOS and Sushant can work on together as far as the student body is concerned. One is what is urgently required, I feel, is to raise awareness of the importance of heritage among our citizens, among the citizens of our country. And that if we can have a few, mobilization initiatives of, whether we can go to these communities to raise awareness of what they have, and the value of what they have. And if students do that, it is of twofold benefit. I mean, the students will engage and own, will feel, the ownership of heritage, and also connect with the community, which sometimes, one is disconnected with because of, one's own preoccupation. So reaching out to community to talk about what they have, like we did briefly in Bachapur Bauli, and the stories that people have about the heritage sites. How do you popularize those stories of the heritage sites through students? I think that would be a great idea to explore. And also the other thing I was wondering if ICOMOS would be interested in tying up some kind of revitalize a heritage site, in a more kind of partnership way to basically to demonstrate what can be possible. So at the moment we don't have, a physical, tangible outcome of a relationship. And I think if in these two ways of, of the outreach to community and also revitalization of a heritage site, if we can demonstrate, that this is what ICOMOS and Sushant partnership through students is able to do. And it needn't be big. I think small is even better, because, then at least there is more attention to detail and quality. And if we can work on that. The third thing, I think Bhavna would probably, emphasize, something about modernism, modern architecture, which is another wing of our heritage concern in Sushant. Whether ICOMOS again would be, kind of also awareness of modern architecture, of sort of how to restore, how to keep that's a completely specialized area. So these are thoughts that come to mind, and I think there is a need to focus and have short goals that you deliver on, keeping the longer term vision in mind. But I think the delivery and outcome is very important, because then people are able to see what you're talking about. Otherwise, it all remains within within our virtual world now, not even physical. So it is important to kind of do something. Yes. Bhavna, you want to add something, and Parul, you would like to add something?
Sure. I'm just going to say a few things that I've noticed, during these discussions today. First is Naveen was saying, even if 20 are interested, this year we started electives in BArch program. So I think, like Vibhuti said, for communities, I'm also saying start at the lowest level that we can at the college rather than going to the masters. Why don't we start first year, second year, third year? everybody gets into that mode. So I have an elective. We are doing an elective in BArch program. We have about 20 students, and you should see the excitement on their faces. They are here, present here right now. So when we start at that level, we know that we can ensure that by the time they graduate, or by the time they're in 4th year, we'll have 40, 60, and then master's programs also. So I think we are taking that step, Naveen. We are that was our new, because heritage is our USP, and we are so many of us who are very, very passionate and motivated towards heritage. This is one thing we are already doing. Then I think at this level, we would also like the emerging professionals group and them to collaborate. We'll work on that. Parul and I will make sure that happens now. So emerging professionals and the students should interact, and that need to interact, I think, is very important. We should lay more emphasis on that. And then that will gradually lead to automatically, they will start making proposals once they understand why this is important. It will happen. Then we won't have to tell them, I think. So I think that area is really important. Then we will definitely take up your offer on the thesis awards and, inputs in studios, dissertation and thesis. So I think because we have a large bachelor's program, we need inputs, in a lot of places. And I think ICOMOS has a lot of expertise. So we would love that. We're going to do that as well. And I think that's all I can think of right now. And of course, our modern masters initiative, we call it the Modern Indian Architects. I wouldn't say masters, we deleted that term, because we are focusing on all modern architects who have not been given enough importance. We forget about post-independence architecture. So we started this program about 3+ years ago, and we've had a few exhibitions. That's how we started. But National Scientific Committee on 20th Century Heritage is very interested in collaborating with us. Annabelle is going to write a proposal to Vibhuti soon, and we'll collaborate on that. So I think there are lots of avenues, but we're just talking right now. So I think something will shape up very soon. So on positive note, Parul?
Yeah. So thanks, Bhavna. So I think I would like to mention, I think Poonam already mentioned the 100-day challenge that we've been working on. So over the last, since 2017, since we have the master's program in built heritage here at Sushant, we've had these, very unique and exciting experiences of working with heritage and taking the idea of heritage to the stakeholders on ground and creating a lot of noise about keeping heritage. So I think thanks to ICOMOS, I mean, when we started with, we were closing our 100-day challenge for the Badshapur Bauri in year 18 January to May. So ICOMOS, was acknowledged our contribution, and in fact gave us a certificate which acknowledged our contribution towards heritage. So that kind of it's of course very motivating, and lots of potential possibilities, of course, discussed through this entire discourse, and I think it was extremely valuable. And I think even though the students are not asking any questions right now, but they would have a lot of interesting inquiries, I think, coming up. We will have a lot of inquiries coming up soon. And so I think not only this idea that, this, how Poonam has mentioned that they have this thought of building children's stories through historic narratives. I think that's very exciting, because we do a lot of interesting things, and we do this kind of exploration in our theory and method course through the bachelor's program, and also in the master's. Of course, this idea of popularizing heritage is something that we are taking forward. So besides that, I think even the idea mentioned in terms of others, of course, Bhavna has already mentioned already. The one that Pura mentioned about this possibility of taking collaborative publication forward. So maybe we could think on those lines also. So we're I think quite excited to take up these initiatives and bring them to fruition, which is very important. Coming back to what Dr. Vibhuti Sachdev mentioned, that it's about actually delivery and delivering something, getting tangible outcomes. So I think that's going to be very motivating for the students to be involved in as a process, and certainly something that encourages their participation. And with that, I think all of these possibilities are great, and I think we can look for ideas coming from the students as well. So, your students, you are welcome to please share with any of us, any just ideas that you have, any ways in which you are your takeaways from this discussion today, and how you would like to be a part of this whole this initiative. And essentially, I think the most important thing that we've achieved today is connecting the two organizations in a more integral way, and opening out the direction in which ICOMOS is moving, and introducing that to the students and the faculty. So I think that's how the process of ideation begins and has to be taken forward. So with that, I think that's all I would like to say. And any last words from
Parul,
Yeah.
if I may add, I think we have also started student interns for ICOMOS this year. So that is something I had forgotten, and I just like to add that maybe every year, or maybe depending on how we go forward, we have introduced this idea of interns, so that there is another set of collaboration.
Sure, sounds great. Thanks, Poonam. So any last words from Naveen, please?
Yeah, I am actually a great proponent of seeing what you want to do. So it's really what Dr. Sachdev is saying, that I want to see in my lifetime as an institutional member of ICOMOS India, what have I done? I have talked a lot, but what have I done? So one of the things that comes to my mind at this point, and it can be explored further amongst yourselves, is as an educational institution with a significant amount of contribution to the architecture domain, and you could discuss it further with Poonam, who is in this domain. Unfortunately, I am out of the structured formal way of teaching these days, part of an NGO. But would there be a thought of kind of exploring or already not predicting or projecting, but showing some kind of a direction of conservation education, let's say in a post-COVID scenario, let's say 5 years down the line. Not in a post-COVID scenario sounds depressing, but in a 5-year scenario, and you could that way connect with our NSC on education and training. There are a lot of members there. Poonam is already here, and if we could get a smaller group, not too large, a group of people who are in this field, and let's say so you could quickly do a desk review of what have we done so far. You've already, I think this is your 3rd year in postgraduate conservation, but even in architecture, undergraduate level, you have lots of theses and dissertations which work on heritage areas. So where has it's almost kind of an introspection of where have we reached so far in the last 2 decades, and is there a thinking on where do we want to go? And if we can do that in 1 year, so let's have a targeted time frame of October 2021, where as part of ICOMOS India collaboration with Sushant and other institutions, we got about quite a few institutional members. That way perhaps we'll be able to show direction or a potential direction of these institutions, heavyweights coming together, examining the shortcomings and the shortfalls, and instead of being very negative and depressed about COVID, wanting to place the discussion, let's say 2030, conservation education in 2030, and we are discussing it in 2021. So there is still time to readjust yourself as an educational institution. And perhaps that could generate some kind of a stimulating dialogue with students, because see, they are the ones who are going to be gaining out of it, and they are the ones who are going to be teaching 5 years, 6 years down the line. So faculty, students, institutional members, zones, and NSCs all coming together, but with a very tight time frame of 1 year, and we deliver, we target and we deliver that. So I thought if that is something that you may want to discuss amongst yourselves, and not necessarily right now, but where do we come from, where we are, and where we go, and in education, not digressing here and there.
Sure, quite challenging it will be, but yes, quite.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's stock taking would be good. Would be a good exercise to take stock of how one has traversed this journey of education. But also, I think what we have been doing in Sushant is building on community involvement. So getting community projects into our studio. And increasingly, I feel that there is a pressing need of higher education to get into community building exercises. I think the role of higher education in shaping our environment is very critical, crucial, because it's not a commercial enterprise. It's not so much burdened by the businesses, although education is a business itself. But having said that, I think I was hoping yes we'll do that, and we've been doing a lot of, as Parul said, a lot of interventions within Gurgaon. We want to kind of keep it within Gurgaon because that's where we want to build our layers of networking. So we've got our network with GMDA and MCG and our communities. Parul's work herself and Bhavna, they've worked on Haryana, Gurgaon very, very intensely. I feel that, and now this is again an idea, I don't know whether it's possible. I feel, is it possible to kind of, adopt a site, within our reach, within the students' reach, and keep that as a kind of an ongoing project, which the students who are learning in college, in doing an MArch, are constantly engaged with. So they learn their, Araish, they learn their skills or, bricklaying in the site while restoring it, while kind of making it better. Because I'm actually, wouldn't it be so lovely to kind of make a difference to people's lives through education? While you're, and, higher education especially, because, master students are all architects. And they are in a position to really contribute while they are learning. And what better way to contribute while they also give to the community, or reach out to the community? And is there a kind of possibility of a site one can adopt? Not something of iconic nature, but something close by, which we can adopt as a joint venture between ICOMOS and Sushant. So it becomes an ICOMOS and Sushant lab, almost, that site, through which we engage the community, we constantly work on materials, we work on functions, and develop ideas. So it becomes, it becomes a living heritage lab in close by, which we use for teaching and we use for engaging community. So that is something, if Naveen also and Poonam or everybody else can sort of suggest ideas or mobilize support towards that would be really valuable.
Yes, I don't know if Smita is still with us. Smita, if you are there as a zonal rep, perhaps you could come in, or Poonam, you are also a zonal rep. If you see this as a viable.
Yes, because we are trying to do something, and I'm hoping we'll also be able to, because I'm there at the Anant National University, and again bring them on the ICOMOS platform and engage ICOMOS again. So we are trying to do something like that with the Anant National University right now with the undergrad students, hoping that there will be a master's in that, but there is already urban design there. So something like that we are in the process of formulating with Anant National University, and yes, it is viable. Because Delhi, each city in India is full of different historicities, both tangible and intangible. And yes, we can definitely do. It's definitely a good idea, because then what happens is we own that thing. It's SET Twitter level is already trying to do that with the municipal corporation. They call it something else, but it's a similar process, whereby the students engage and then they almost adopt that thing to a certain level, So the municipal corporation also gets a hand-holding and that. So yes, that kind of a conservation lab or whatever you want to call it is actually a good idea.
So we've got at least 2 good ideas which have a tangible outcome at the end of it. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we've got at least 2, and we can develop further.
Absolutely. Great. Anything from the students? Any students who would like to say something? Shivani, Savar?
Yes, ma'am. I think with social media, actually, we have been engaging, and even with ICOMOS and everything, I'm very interested to take forward this the writing initiative that we spoke about. I think that would be really good, and we're in that direction. We've been writing about Gurgaon and Haryana with you, so I think it'll be very good to take that forward.
Yes, ma'am. As Savar has mentioned, even I'd like to know, have the ICOMOS student chapter like Vibhuti ma'am just mentioned. So you can have
Yes.
something like that which can be more student oriented, and for future conservationists, we will have the better platform to have better ideas.
So to take that idea forward, Naveen, what is the process? Should we, write a kind of a concept note for the student chapter and submit it to ICOMOS and see if that can be considered?
I think
Naveen's got a network issue, but
Is Naveen online? He was a second ago.
so
Vibhuti,
yeah.
jump. There's no harm in putting forward a proposal. Let's have a concept note, and even if it is in our current MOA, can be. We're always ways. So we've got okay. The answer is yes. Please send in a concept note, and let's take it forward from there. If it is possible, we will do. If we'll find another way, getting the same kind of information, kind of association.
Great. Okay. So, Shreya, we'll do that. Thank you, Riman. And we should certainly do that and create a concept note and submit. We can say, what are the kind of activities the student chapter will have, what is the association, and then maybe take feedback from Dr. Rima and refine it so that we can move forward. It'll be great, and we can become the institutional hub for the student chapter. So, and then we can open it out to other institutions as well. We can open it out to other colleges as well for students, for the student body. I think the student's body needs to be activated and formalized in some way. Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
Definitely, ma'am. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Rima, ma'am.
Okay.
Is there any more questions from anyone?
I think Smita is on mute and she can't unmute herself. She's trying to come back. Can somebody? I can't find her actually. She's been writing some messages. I think she wants to say something. Parul, can you unmute her?
no, only the participant can unmute themselves.
Okay. Then there's some technical issue, I guess.
Right. Yeah. So anyhow, so I think this was fantastic. We already, I think, feel part of the. I'm sure the students also feel that they're part of the family, the larger family, the ICOMOS family, and I think signed in from a different device. So,
Well, ask her to type the message.
Smita is trying to, okay, some other device.
Well, at least we're not stuck in a traffic jam.
Request her to type.
That's right.
So I suppose we'll
Type
close
to
the
help.
session. We're well in time. Okay, so Smita
Okay,
says
we
I
can
can
be
think
done.
of digital ways to run the community engagement. So absolutely, I think Smita, that's something we've been trying to be very active on social media and such platforms, and I think definitely we should look at digital platforms to expand this idea and collaborate on it. And so with that, I think big thanks to all the executive committee members of ICOMOS for joining in and opening up this whole conversation. And thanks Poonam, thanks Dr. Reema Ahuja, thanks Naveen, thanks to Smita, and thanks to all the students and faculty, and thanks to Dr. Vibhuti Sachdev, I think, and thanks Shreya for being the anchor. So our students are eager to connect and to take, so lots of things forward. So on that note, I think we can close the session. So thank you very much once again, and have a good weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you all. Thank you.